want to go back firstly to the playing every 3 days thing, because we were talking last night about it, and I thought it was really interesting what you said about honing a sort of ruthlessness in players like Bukayo and others, just playing 3 days, 3 days, 3 days. Can you talk a bit more about what the process is behind that and how you know when a player is ready to do it?
Well, because we have so many data right now, and we know what the players they've done, what they can do, how they respond when they play every 3 days, when we play 3, 4, 5 consecutive matches where the risk can be. But still nobody has the crystal clear ball. I haven't heard anybody say this is going to happen in 2 weeks' time. But obviously we want to protect our players. And a way to protect our players is when there is a risk to overload them and get them into that frame where they can get injured, don't do it. But to protect our players as well means that they need to have the robustness to play those matches when it's necessary, because it's going to be necessary. And after the World Cup, it's going to be absolutely crazy the amount of games that we're going to have, the crucial games we're going to have, and we need to be prepared for that.
And in Bukayo's case specifically, I mean, it seems from here that there has been a bit of a step up this season in how strong and robust he is and capable of doing that, where maybe previously he wasn't quite there.
Here, the robustness is in your mind. How much you want it, how tough you want to be with yourself, how pushy you want to be yourself, and what do you do to get to that level.
So it's not so much about whether people can bounce off you or not, it's about
yeah, the gym is very important, but what happens in your brain, I think, is more important.
You also said that, ultimately no fitness coach would persuade you that players can't do it. In a hypothetical situation, and I know that, as you say, you guys have the data, we don't. If it came down to you having an opinion that a player could do it and a fitness coach saying, I'm not sure about that.
That doesn't happen because it's a really open discussion. Everything adds a lot to the table when it comes to that. Is the nutritionist, the sleeping specialist, is what data is saying, how we interpret the data as well. What is the momentum of a player says, what is a personal issue of a player is saying to us. There are a lot of factors that we do it all together. I don't have all the answers. The fitness coach doesn't have the answers. The data doesn't have all the answers. It's something that we have to do together, and this is the way we work.
And just one about the World Cup, if that's all right, because I think we're a month to the day till England play around. Bukayo hopefully will be playing. I mean, we've got plenty of other players we can talk about. Is that coming at all into your thinking now about how you manage players? Because we've seen players like Reece James, we've seen Jota from Liverpool, for example. There's a few people picking up knocks at this point. Is it something that factors in for you at all at the moment?
It does, but I don't know those cases, and we have injuries that were traumatic injuries. We have an injury with Alex in his calf that he never had an injury in his calf before. So it's a lot of things that are very difficult to predict. We try to do the right things, and then football is so unpredictable that this can happen.
Have any international managers, is there conversations with not just like Gareth, but other international managers? Do they come to you? Have you spoke to them this season?
Yeah, we spoke to them, to many of them, just because it's great for both managers to have an update of where they are, not only physically, mentally, issues that they had, things that we insist on them, what it helps a player and what brings a player down. I think it's really important communication, and we're trying to build those relationships.
You touched on your start to the season. It's 13 wins from 14, but unless you achieve your goals at the end of the season, the start doesn't really count for anything, does it?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Can I ask just quickly about Gabriel Magalhaes? A lot's been made about William and how he settled into the team this year, but it's almost gone under the radar almost how good Gabi's been, I think, isn't it?
Well, I think obviously when we look at a central defender, we look partnerships, and I think Gabi's made William a better player, and I think Willie helps Gabi to be the same. I think there is a strong chemistry there. You can sense it, the way they communicate with each other, the way they play for each other, and that's really positive. That's what we want. But when Robert steps in, it's the same, or when Benny's play there. So I'm really happy with the options that we have there.
Some of his performances of late have drawn a little bit of criticism with Gabi, but he seems to have your complete faith. He's started every game, hasn't he? So where do you think his game's at the moment?
Well, when you look at the goals that we have conceded, there are some individual errors in some of them, but they've been shared. But we have to accept, I said, when you have young players as well in those positions, this is going to happen, and that's the bill.
Just finally, you touched on it then about partnerships, and I look back to look at Tony Adams and Steve Bold and Sol Campbell and Colo Torre. they're the importance when this club's a win things. It's about defensive partnership can be just as important as at the other end of the pitch.
Well, a winning team needs to have, obviously, the spine of the team has to be tremendously consistent and play at a really high level. Keep clean sheets, and we are doing that, and we can still improve a lot.
We're up against time a little bit, so if we can just rattle through just a couple, please, and then into Sundays. Thank you. Cheers.
Last week in Bodo, the manager was saying he wants to come and study you, and last night Ruben Nistelrooy was talking now about how impressed he's been with you. I just wonder how do you keep your head small enough to fit through the door and not get ahead of yourself given the start of the season?
I don't know. Obviously, thank you. I don't read much, you know that I don't. But I gave Ruth as well a lot of compliment, and I give the manager board a lot of compliment because I thought that's the case. I think we learn from each other a lot. I think watching other teams, other way of doing and speaking to other people, I think it's really rich, and if you want to evolve, you have to do that, and we are constantly trying to do those things as well.
And is there someone, or either at home or a coach, who keeps you in check if you know when it's going really well and you're getting confident? If someone who brings you back down to earth?
I don't know, the people I always speak to, they don't change the way they are with me. I don't change. I demand myself more. I look much more for the things that we have to improve with the things that we do really well, and that's the thing. When you are in a really good moment, the hardest thing is to maintain it, and we want to prolong that period.
And just very, very quickly on Saka, you mentioned it's all in the head. Is he doing anything specific? Is he seeing a psychologist or someone to get robust, or what you do?
I think he has a really powerful environment around him, his family, the people is around him, the way he's been raised. He has some important people in his life. I think that there are some really good influences as well. And then everybody at the club that tries to protect him, but as well challenge and push him to get to a different level.
Now Saturday at 10:30.